I want to come on here and talk about something that is an issue that happens in communities everywhere, and hoping that this can shed some light on some of the ways we can deal with this issue within our communities, whether it be on community land living together or in a community with lots of friends and sharing spaces together, house parties and stuff where we're all connected and intertwined. In these situations and communities, there's a lot of different relations that are beautiful, and some of them become what we call power couples in our community. And when a power couple within a community chooses to separate, it can have a big impact on the community. And the way we choose to deal with it needs to be with empathy, compassion, and understanding. Really, as two people in a community separate, there needs to be community members that are able to show up for each individual and be able to hear them through their expression, and also be able to have the empathy to feel what they're feeling and what's going on. And yeah, this stuff is really important. People don't always last forever, and in communities sometimes these couples will create large events and stuff together. There'll be community leaders that split, there'll be people who run our static dance in communities. It could be multiple different dynamics, but to allow each individual to go through their heartbreak but be supported by the community is really important. And to know that what happens in a relationship when things end are just those two people's opinions of one another, doesn't mean that those people are bad people. I do not believe that people that we have loved and invited in our community, I feel we've done, in most communities I've been in, a pretty good screening of these people and how they show up. And if there's someone we trust, we should trust that they still have good intentions. And to hear what the other person has to say, saying that they have bad intentions or they're a bad person, is something we need to take with a grain of salt and not project the opinion of someone onto someone else. To make our own choices, to have our own free will is important. This is huge because it's happened in a community that I used to live in, down in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And currently there are two major power couples, I believe, and a third one that's going through this right now. And yeah, with this happening, to allow them to basically go through their heartbreak, have community members come in and support people in their heartbreak and be held and respected and understood for how they feel is important, because everyone's feeling is valid. What you feel on the inside, we all see things differently. What I see through my lens is different than what you see through your lens. And it's okay to allow someone to express their heartbreak with rage or anger or pain or sadness. Emotions are not good or bad. They're just emotions, and we're emotional creatures. So to allow and to be held in the container where you can express whatever and know that it's safe to express that it's not going to be spread around, is beautiful. So we need the sovereign individuals in our community to help people through their heartbreak so they can step back into their sovereignty. So power couples can be in heartbreak and then in their sovereignty and then invited back into a community, is really huge. And a couple of ways that these are done is you can do unity circles. Unity circles is a practice that people use in communities where we come together and we allow people to speak, and then the whole community reflective listen to what they have said, so we can hear what's been going on inside them and how they feel things are being taken advantage of or how things are being seen through their lenses, and bring some clarity to how they feel, and what's the reality in a community setting is really big. And that's both people, when they split up in a community, to allow to come into a circle and hear both people's stories. One of the things I think that's really important, dependent on your community, is transparency. The art of concealment is a shadow aspect that can happen in communities, and in order to dissolve the shadows is to truly be transparent. If you're with people that you can trust, you should feel safe to open up about some of the details that you probably wouldn't share with other people or someone walking down the street. So you want to be able to have full transparency of what occurred and what took place, who did what. And I know these are details, and we're not here to point fingers at people. We're simply here to listen to someone's expression of how they viewed a situation or a scenario. So that is really important. And then allowing people to be heard within that unity circle, reflective listen, and then allow the community to reflect on what they've heard and felt, or their impact from hearing those people's expressions. Very powerful tool. I've held a couple of those, and it's been very transformational and very powerful in community settings, and can bring a lot to the table to help people move out of these couples and get into their sovereignty, and not be looked at like they're wrong people or bad people, because they're community members that we truly love. And if you really love the people in your community, you want to see them rise up out of their own shadows, darknesses, heartbreaks, to step into their full sovereignty and express their joy and walk their dharma. So to do that as a community is really important. Another tool is MAL, which is to mirror, so it's mirror, acknowledge, and understand. And this can be done one-on-one with a couple. They do it a lot in coaching sessions. So you listen to someone say, hey, I went to the store and I had someone cut me off, and I got a lot of anxiety and I screamed at you, I'm sorry. And then you go like, I hear that you went to the store and someone cut you off, and it brought anxiety to you, and that's why you yelled at me. And to speak in their words, not in your words, is important. And then asking, is there anything more that you'd like to express? And allow that person to unpack, because you might find deeper emotions inside. If things get, and then acknowledge, be like, I acknowledge you and honor you for speaking your truth and what you feel, and I understand you better now. And then going back and saying how you felt and how you were impacted by it. If any point something in any of these circles or in the one-on-one sessions get out of control, or like too many emotions come up, you could always come back to breathing techniques. A lot of times when we are feeling unsafe to speak, or unsafe about what's being told to us, we jump into our sympathetic nervous system. It triggers us. It's the place we store trauma. So to say, hey, can we breathe? I need a moment. Or speak in your truth that you need some time. Come back to some connective breathing, like just some deep breaths, and calm yourself down. It'll bring you back into your parasympathetic nervous system, and you'll be able to access more of your brain. When we're triggered, we're only using like 10% of our brain. So yeah, the real point of this is to not shame people, not to kick them out of the community when people split up or have issues, to not be like, oh, you can't come to static dance because this person's going to be there, or this person doesn't want you in this community setting because I'm here. That creates the concealment aspect. That creates story. Once story happens for a while, people start to believe it. So to take care of these things sooner than later is also important. Obviously, there's time of healing. But if you allow too much story to go on and too much pushing people out of the community, the people that are pushed out of the community do not feel that they're ever going to be heard, and that story is going to be created and they're viewed a certain way. So they create their own story being pushed out of the community, that they're not loved, that they're not desired, that people don't care for them. And the people that are telling the story start owning their stories. Oh, that person's fucked up, and they shouldn't be part of the community, like they're not a good person. So to allow a little bit of time, but not so much time that we create stories. So I'm hoping that this reaches some of you that are really needing to hear this. I think it's an important aspect, and there's a lot more tools. If you want any more detail or would like to reach out to me on different ways you can approach using these tools or finding a way to hold people through their breakups in community, let me know. I'm also available for unity circles and any conflict resolution that resides in community. I have some really good tools, and yeah, I really hope this video helps you and that something good can come from it. So blessings, namaste.